Let's get started with our warm-up. We're going to begin with a little bit of neck mobility, so find a neutral square stance. Go ahead and take a nice big inhale. As you exhale, tuck your chin. Inhale, look up. Exhale, coming down. Inhale up. Try to keep those shoulders relaxed. Breathe in and out through the nose. Coming to center, go ahead and turn and look over your right shoulder. And then turn, look over your left. Switching sides. It's a good way to just check in with how your neck and shoulders are feeling today. One more each side. And back to center. Go ahead and drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Coming through the center, left ear to left shoulder. Alternating sides. Nice and gentle. Don't feel you need to force the range of motion here. Just nice and slow and easing into a little bit more range with every rep. Good, back to center. We're going to do our chicken, double chin. So I'm going to jut my chin forward, and then I'm going to glide it back and think about lengthening out through the back of my head, or through the crown of my head, lengthening the back. Do a few reps here. Good. We're going to move into pelvic tilts. So we're going to find our neutral short stagger here. So neutral width, short length, stepping forward one step. Okay, place a little bend in your knees. You're going to take your hands to your hips and gently tilt your pelvis back and forth. As we're doing this, we're thinking of activating the low back muscles and the lower ab muscles. And I'd like you to think of relaxing them gently. If you try to contract the muscles really hard, you're going to miss out on the subtlety of this exercise. So I want you to think of 10% effort on your contraction on the low back, 10% effort on pulling the low abs in. And that gentle effort is going to help us get more connected to our deep core muscles. Try to also aim for making this move really nice and smooth. Good, and let's go ahead and switch legs. So come back to your neutral square. Step forward into that short length with the other leg. Little bend in the knees. And nice and slow. That 10% effort here. Pelvic tilts are an excellent way to start warming up your back and abs for any weight training or any strength training in general. It's a good way to get more familiar with what your pelvis position is during the different movements you're doing, which is going to help us know which part of the body we're engaging more. Good, and release. You're going to need your kettlebell for this next exercise. So grab your kettlebell. We're going to be doing a kettlebell handcuff. So we're going to grab the kettlebell behind the back, palms facing away from the body. And I want you to think of squeezing the shoulder blades together to open up the chest. And we're going to do some nice deep breaths here. I want you to think of inhaling into your chest and expanding through the chest, okay? So go ahead and take 5 nice big inhales and exhales in and out through the nose, thinking of expanding your chest. Here we go. One. 2. Think of dropping those shoulders down, back by squeezing them, and down, letting them relax. Inhale into the chest. 3, and release. You could set your bell down. We'll come back to that guy. We're going to do hip hinges in our neutral short stagger stance. So find your neutral short. You can go hands on your hips or hands on the front of your thighs and go ahead and slide down into a deadlift position or hip hinge position here, and then nice and slow bringing back up. We're going to do 10 reps on each side. So this is an example of how we can use our stagger stance to train the lower body a little bit differently. In one of our next classes, we'll be doing a stagger stance deadlift. So using this position or similar position, we'll be training our deadlift. So while it's very similar to a regular deadlift, you're just hitting the muscles from a different position and building better strength through different ranges of motion. 6. 7, as we're going through this warm-up, I'd like you to really start tuning into your body and seeing if you can feel what muscles are engaging here. And then when you feel which ones are engaging, see if you can get them to contract a little harder just by placing your attention and focus there. Okay, since I was talking, I'm not totally sure what rep that was, but I think it was 10. So we're going to switch back to that neutral square. Step the other foot forward. Same idea here. And just take note if you feel a difference from one side to the other. Anything you notice that feels better or a little bit more challenging on one side versus the other. That's 3. 4. And I did have a question about breathing during some of the different strength training exercises. So we can talk about that a little bit here. As you go down, I'd like you to think of inhaling. As you go up, think exhale. Okay, so that's going to be true for a lot of the strength training exercises we're doing today. I want you to think of inhaling on the preparatory position and exhaling on the work position. So the deadlift is harder on the way up because you're lifting the bell. So that's going to be your exhale. In our downward phase, or as we slide down or bring the bell to the floor, will be our preparatory phase. So inhale down, exhale up. Good. And whether you breathe in and out through your nose or through your mouth, it's kind of up to you, depending on how fatigued you are at the time. So try to do it in and out through your nose, but as you move through your workout, you may need to take some air in through your mouth, and that's okay. Okay, next we're going to do a squat. So we're just going to use our neutral square position for this one. Feet about hip width apart. Toes can either be pointed straight forward, or if you'd like to angle them out a little bit, that's totally fine. Just be sure that if your toes are tracking forward, your knees are tracking forward. If your toes are tracking out, your knees are following your toes. That's going to keep your knees feeling good during your squats. So we've got 10 reps here. Let's go. And you can also decide on your depth on your squat. So you can go quarter squat depth. You can go half squat depth. I might have just showed those about equal. Let's say quarter, half, parallel, or if you've got really good mobility and you want to go as low as you can, I'll leave that up to you. You can always sit down on a chair for your squat if that feels safer and more comfortable for you. Please feel free to grab a chair and work on your chair squat. Also an excellent exercise. We're going to call that 6 because I lost track again. That's what happens when you're talking. 7, you guys probably know exactly what number you're on. 8. 9. 10. Nice work. Okay, we're going to do some ankle work here. So you can either feel free to practice your balance by standing on one leg, or place your hand on a wall, a chair, something next to you to give you a little bit of stability. So you're going to lift one leg, and I want you to do a gas pedal. So you're going to point the toe, and then you're going to flex the foot. Okay, so that's 2, 3, nice and slow, and really try to get a little more range of motion every rep. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Switch sides. Find your balance or grab hold of your wall on the other side. Point and flex. 1, 2, 3, 4. Little more range each time. 5. Maybe get a little snap, crackle, pop. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you do get some snap, crackle, pop while we're doing the warm-up, totally okay. As long as it's not painful, totally fine to feel some of that popping and cracking. It's part of the warm-up. Okay, so hopefully you're feeling warm by now, and we're gonna head into our first set. So for our first set,